18-19 string patterns community is growing, and so is the number of rackets on the market. I wanted to make this video for quite a while now. I always believed in this string pattern, but yeah, the options were quite limited, and now I think Tecnifibre kinda touched the finish line. They made it to the mainstream. Of course, it helps when some players win a slam with this string pattern. Djokovic shifted from 18-20 to 18-19. Medvedev won a Grand Slam with the 18-19 TFight. Of course, in the past we had Andre Agassi. There was Denis Istomin, who won against Djokovic in Australian Open. Back then, Djokovic was using 18-20 string pattern, so this is an interesting stat. From the next gen players we have Jakub Mensik, that is quite an interesting player, and of course our favorite in the YouTube community, Carousel. Let's discuss some key differences between the most popular rackets with 18-19 string pattern, which is still kinda an underground pattern, but I think the momentum is changing slightly but surely. The power potential of those rackets is the key difference where you can either prefer one or the other. I think on the one side we have Prestige MP, and the other side we have Percept 100D. Yes, Percept 100D is the most powerful racket, and if we imagine this graph of power to control ratio, for me personally, Percept 100D offers too much power, not enough control, or maybe not enough spin to offset this bigger power potential. I have to aim a bit lower above the net. If I try to hit a more loopy ball, sometimes I will hit too long. So Percept 100D is definitely for the players that want to drive through the ball. In tennis, it's at least for me, as a grinder, as a counter puncher, I tend to react more than being the one dictating the rally. So sometimes the striking zone is not perfect. Sometimes I have to pick up the ball, and then having a bit more spin potential or a bit more control, touch, feel gives me more options to work with, and you know, it's easier to place the ball where I want. Where the Percept 100D with the biggest power and least control was just tricky. Prestige MP is the most control-oriented racket, then 305s, then Isoflex, and the least controllable racket is the Yonex Percept 100D. Now we have this flavor, spin potential. Here things can be a bit interesting. Of course, with lower power potential, sometimes you get more spin potential because you are not so much afraid of accelerating, and with higher racket head speed you tend to get a bit more spin. 305s is the most spinny option here. It is the fastest racket on this list, and still with not so much power. 305s is my pick when it comes to the spin potential. Then we have Prestige MP, but the spin potential of the Prestige MP is coming from a similar place where the 305s is standing, because it is a lower powered racket, so I can accelerate more. 305s is a bit faster than the Prestige MP, so that's why I put Prestige MP a bit below the 305s. Then I would put Isoflex in the ranking. I think in general, Isoflex was more about driving the ball. With such high swing wave and head heavy balance, it is a bit harder to accelerate with your wrist. It's more about letting the racket hit through the ball. It is a great racket for players that focus on the backswing fluidity, hitting through the ball with relaxed hand, relaxed arm. But yeah, with such head heavy balance and heavy swing wave, sometimes it is a bit harder to react to some balls, like picking up lower balls, or maybe the bounce will be a bit random on clay. It is a bit harder to change the motion. With the 305S it is much easier. And the least spin-oriented racket from the 1819 world is the Percept 100D. Of course, it's not a simple answer here because yeah, it is a very responsive racket with maybe the biggest striking area. So in theory the spin potential increases here the best, but the response is the fastest, meaning the ball leaves the string bed the fastest. And if you tend to guide the ball more, sometimes you just don't have enough time to import your intention for spin and the ball already left the racket, and this is where you lose spin potential but you get more penetration. And I think 100D is the best when it comes to this court penetration, flat bombs. Spin is the hardest here. You must have a very fast wristy motion to catch up with the ball leaving the string bed. Like, you have to import spin on the impact and not kinda after. You are talking about very small differences in time, but for me as a grinder who is used to more guiding the ball, yeah, I am kind of kicking up this wrist motion sometimes too late, and longer dwell time, bigger pocketing sensation kind of saves me often, because yeah, I have kind of bigger time window to import spin. Here Prestige MP has the biggest this window of time where you can kind of choose what to do with the ball. 305S has similar stiffness response to the Percept 100D, but it is much lower in power. So it kind of meets in the middle between the Prestige MP and Percept 100D, which is fine for me because now I can mix between flat bombs and some spinny solutions, and that's probably why I love 305S the most. Prestige MP, I love it as well because it shines in control, touch and feel and comfort and pocketing like the most. So it is the most traditional racket on that list, but it gives this little twist of modern solutions, 18-19 string pattern, slightly bigger head size. Yeah, the spin potential is great there as well. I already mentioned that Prestige MP is great for control, but doesn't have any weapons. Slightly lower power potential just leaves me a bit toothless. Yeah, Prestige MP is a fun racket, and I can see myself using it where my confidence level goes down. But yeah, 305S is a bit more versatile, especially when you customize it. So yeah, control, like I already said, Prestige MP is the winner here. Then we have 305S, then ISO Flex and 100D. Touch and feel, yeah, this is quite an interesting area. I think of course Prestige line is the best when it comes to touch and feel, but of course you trade some of the power, and this is the trickiest part with the Prestige line. I put 305S on the second place, but I am willing to give this trade and get more power, get more spin potential. ISO Flex, my third pick, mainly because high swing wave and head heavy balance make the frame feel like a hammer. I mean, yeah, it's more about fluidity of your swing, and touch feel is more about kind of reacting or placing the ball wherever you want. Rackets with lower swing wave and lower specs tend to be a bit better when it comes to touch and feel. You just get more feedback of the ball when striking it. Of course, we can shift to the comfort, because with lower specs the comfort gets a bit lower. Yeah, here I put Prestige MP on a first place. Prestige line in general is a pillow experience, very soft, with a lot of pocketing. Some players love it, some players hate it. I personally love it. I just wish Prestige had a bit more power. But be careful head, if you're making some updates to the Prestige line, don't put it too close to the Percept 100D. On the second place I would put here maybe ISO Flex, because yeah, we have such a high swing wave, it just destroys the ball. The sensation is a bit softer with heavier specs. I put ISO Flex here. Then I would put here maybe 305s. The comfort level is very close. The reason why I put 305s above the 100D is the frame has less power, meaning I can string the racket looser, maybe even with thinner strings, and get comfort from the string setup. Where with the 100D, the frame itself is a bit stiffer, more responsive, so I have to string it a bit tighter. And in general, Percept 100D is similarly stiff in response to the 305S, so string setup plays a big role here, and 305S kinda allows me to string it looser and with softer setups. With the Percept 100D, if I string it similarly, I will shoot to the fences. When it comes to the ground strokes, I would say it is a key asset of every racket that is in my top 5. For me, it is about problem solving, so I have to be able to stay in a rally, in theory, forever. Sometimes the ball jumps high, low, faster, slower. It all has an impact on your strokes and decision-making process. I think 305S is the winner here because it is the most versatile racket on this list, slightly towards control. Isoflex would be my second pick because this fluidity and stability of the racket kinda makes the swing very repetitive. It is very easy to repeat the swing motion because you feel the backswing a lot, and when you feel the backswing, it is easier to catch the ball with similar timing, similar feel, similar sensation. This gives you this confidence that you can use on the ground stroke. So that's why I am also customizing my 305S to kind of get closer to this sensation, but I will definitely keep it slightly below to get a bit better power to control ratio. On the third spot I put Prestige MP, and the least favorite for ground strokes is 100D. Even though I love it for the flat bombs, these problem solving options are a bit limited. Prestige MP with its bigger pocketing sensation gives me a bit better spin potential, so yeah, spin gives us option to work with height above the net, lower, higher. Yeah, it's just better for problem solving. So to summarize, I think it is worth picking Yonex Percept 100D if you are more about driving the ball, not that much about spin or playing with heights above the net. You should be aiming kinda in the same spot all the time. Otherwise you can lose the ball and hit out. Prestige MP, I think it is worth picking this frame if you're after comfort and feel. You don't mind giving up power potential, and I would call it a confidence booster. Isoflex, I think it is worth testing out if you are more about fluidity of your swings. It is maybe the most professional racket on this list in stock form, so you don't really have to customize it. 305S, you should try this racket if you want to be versatile on the court, having many options, many answers to very different balls. I think this one is leaving you the biggest space for finding your tennis identity. You can be an attacker, you can be a grinder, pusher, serve and volley. The spin potential of this racket and the power to control ratio is set almost perfectly. Personally, I would like it to be a slightly heavier frame in stock form, then I think it would be perfect. Isoflex, Prestige MP 100D, I think tennis identities are a bit more visible there. 100D, most aggressive racket, Prestige MP, least aggressive racket, Isoflex, somewhere in the middle, and yeah, 305s, most versatile. Yeah, guys, that was a very difficult comparison. So let me know which one is your favorite 18-19 string pattern racket, and make sure to subscribe. See you soon. Bye bye.